Good evening there, stalwarts of the Oregon Trail Council. I show you my cup, but it seems to be disappearing on me. Can you see the water in it? It's very interesting. It's an optical illusion. Yeah. So we have a small group tonight. We've got a couple of procedural things we want to talk about that are facing us in the not too distant future. And as always, please chime in with your own concerns or thoughts. As always, we'll start with the Scout executive, and then we'll go from there into other conversations. We do want to talk tonight about retention, talk about Recharter, take a look at, talk about some program things that are coming up, and then we'll wrap that up. And we're looking forward to another month of scouting here. So, Scott, you got things to tell us about?
I do. Speaking of retention, Randy, we've talked quite a bit lately about retention, and we think the best way to help the retention process is to make sure that we've got programming for our units. And a lot of what I have to talk about is programming and some things that are coming up. Do want everybody to know that if you want any more information on any of this stuff, you can find it all on the council website, otcbsa.org. But Jamboree on the Air is this weekend. Starts on Friday, finishes on Sunday. I'm not an on the air or IT kind of person, so I don't know that much about it. But you can find the information on the website. And again, Friday through Sunday. So that is coming up. Also, Saturday is the Order of the Arrows annual fellowship, and I believe it runs, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but I believe it starts at 10 a.m. and runs to about 8 p.m. by the time everything's wrapped up, and several different sessions in there. Again, a virtual program that is available for those OA members and on Saturday. So that is a couple of things this coming weekend, and then Cubs Saturdays. And I'll throw a little bit of time out to Sandy to talk about this, but Cubs Saturdays coming up on October 5th. A lot of activities, I think that, or I'm sorry, October 24th, Saturday, October 24th. Arts and crafts, first aid, education, STEAM activities, and more. And Sandy, do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so this Saturday, October 24th, we're going to be doing a crazy lab experiment. So just to try to get kids in the community a little more into scouting with like a fun little activity. So yeah, looking forward to that.
And what time and where?
It's going to be at the council office, and it's going to be October 24th from 11 to 12 and 1 to 2. So I have 2 sessions, and they're limited spaces just because of COVID restrictions. And it's going to be outdoors.
Cool. Does that cost anything?
$5.
$5. All righty.
Only $5.
Only $5. That's exactly right. It's an opportunity.
$5 to spend the day with Sandy. That's pretty impressive, if you ask me. So.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So that's it's set up for kids to learn about Cub Scouting. Is that the idea? Parents?
Yeah. So it's kind of like a Cub, just like a Cub meeting, but it's just a little bit of an introduction with a STEM activity to try to get kids more into outdoor scouting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you got all the staff that you need for that, and all the supplies and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm actually testing it out this Saturday with my roommate, so we'll see how the experiment goes.
Very good. That sounds great. Yeah. What else we got there, Scott?
So continuing on, October 29th, all of you on here and everybody out there in virtual land that looks at this later needs to remember that by the 29th, if you're going to enter into the pumpkin carving contest, that is due. That's the last day that those pumpkins are due in the Scout office, and that's something that the store is putting on. I'm still working on mine, Mine, rather than a carving, is a lot of add-ons, and it's kind of looking something like that. So, in progress, but we'll see how it ends up.
So Scott,
Other thing on that, following that 29th, later that weekend on the October 30th and 31st is the first session of our Haunted Trail Cub Camp out of Camp Baker. And then the second session, I think they come in at 4 o'clock on Friday and they'll go until 2 o'clock on Saturday. And then the second session starts on Saturday at 4 o'clock and goes till 2 o'clock on Sunday. So again, we're limited to, I think, 80 total attendance, and they've got everything figured out how to, continue to wear masks and do everything in a safe fashion. So looking forward to that. That's one of the first in-person camping activities that we've had since COVID hit. So really looking forward to that. Then on November 7th is Scouting for Food. We're all set up and ready to move ahead on that. We here locally in Eugene Springfield area, our turn-in will be here at the Scout office, and the Salvation Army will be here with us to load up their truck and hopefully take a ton of food back in. And in our conversations with them, it's really needed at this point. So they're really anxious to be working with us. So that is coming up on November 7th. The other things just want to talk about for any of the units that still have camp cards, the closeout for the camp cards will be October 25th, and want to make sure that they get those turned in. And then units that are, and I think we've really struggled this year because of COVID to find fundraisers for our units and for our scouts. And we actually have a couple of fundraisers coming up this fall. Candy and meat stick sales. Units can earn up to 30% of commissions on that, and that runs through the month of November. And we also are doing popcorn sales online and making that available to our units. And the commission on that is 35%. But if they sell a gross amount of $2,500 or more, they actually will get up to 40% commission. So those opportunities are coming up. And again, just like programming or in-person programming, again, we haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to do some of these types of fundraisers. And now we think we can do that and still do that in a safe manner as well.
Yeah,
so,
very good.
I think that's all I've got, Randy.
Very good. So my suggestion to everybody that's here tonight and that will review this in the future is reach out to your local scouts and buy this stuff by the box. Okay, box of meat sticks, box of candy, box of popcorn, and support your local scouts that particular way. Tony chides me because I do that at the office. Not infrequently, but there's other people besides me that ought to be buying this stuff by the box. Of course, I eat it all the time, so that helps as well. Jim, you had something to say.
Yeah, Scott, how's the online popcorn delivery going to work out then? What's the plan on that and on the meat sticks?
Rob, maybe you can help me on that, but I believe they ship it straight to the whoever is ordering the popcorn. Is that correct, Rob?
That is my understanding.
Yep.
Boy, my FedEx guy is going to hate me.
With all the boxes of popcorn that you buy and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, I have to put all my candy and meat sticks up in the cabinet. Otherwise, every time I go by, I grab one more. It's oh well.
I will say that we just had a unit not too long ago showing you kind of the difference in some of our areas within the council. A lot of places wouldn't be able to do this, but one of our troops along the coast was able to do storefront sales on their camp cards and sold $6,000 worth of camp cards. So that's a tremendous sell considering everything we've had this year.
That's incredible. That's mighty, mighty helpful to in a lot of different directions. So yeah, the challenge is on. Boxes of goodies.
Scott, do you know which store approved that?
That was actually McKay's, I believe, out on the coast.
On the coast. Okay, thanks.
And
They're in Newport, aren't they?
that's a really good thing, because in the last 3 or 4 days, the Chiskin site over at Camp Baker, all of the bunks are now installed, and today fresh wood paint was put on the outside of the building. So camp is ready for these guys. We need to get them earning money so they can all go to OTC camps.
That sounds good. That sounds good.
I know Sandy's probably going to go over there as a commissioner for a week or two to each camp just to experience it. That's a verbal yes.
Definitely.
She's going to be out at Haunted Trails helping out.
I know.
I'm actually really excited for that.
Yeah. So you're going to be out there. Is that right, Sandy? Very
Yeah,
good.
I'm
Very
helping Carrie out that weekend.
good. Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, I quizzed her last week. She assured me she had all the help she needed and had all the supplies. And okay, sounds good to me. But that's a grand thing. It's a grand thing. Okay, Rob, did you want to give us a rundown on Recharter and kind of reiterate the things we covered with the commissioner staff last night and what we expect to do? And we got some wrinkles this year that we're adding in, trying to get a little more buy-in and ownership, if you will, for the entire Recharter process, because we think it's going to be a challenge for sure. So, Rob, can you help us out on that?
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
So let me switch my screen here real quick. All right, so we should be looking at the council homepage. That's what we're seeing currently, correct?
Right.
Yep.
All right, and if you go to Leaders Rechartering, and we will get this link from the homepage probably tomorrow afternoon. otcbsa.org/rechartering will also get you right there. Here's all the information that a unit needs for rechartering this year, with the exception of the access code. The system goes live on November 1st. Access codes went out to Key 3 members today via email. So we'll be following up with them, make sure that they've got everything that they need. If units spend the next couple of weeks just kind of gathering folks together, making sure who's going to return for 2021, gathering those fees, any new applications, we want to get those right into the council service center so that we can do the data entry for the units. Come November 1, you turn it on, you do a couple of clicks, you submit the thing, you print it all off, you get it signed by your chartering organization, get it into your DE, your unit commissioner, or here at the service center, and you're done and done. And we'll be done by November 25th, because if we go past Thanksgiving, it'll get dragged out in the holidays, and we sure don't want to be thinking about it during that period. Let's focus on families then. So that's what we've got for the recharter process.
Yeah, it really is fairly straightforward. I mean, it hasn't been difficult in the past. We seem to put it off. We've also added in that there's a little record keeping in there for the executives and the commissioner staff on the Google Doc that allows us to review where we are. And that's a little different this year than what we've done previously. So, Sandy, you'll see if you haven't already that there's a place in there to add in which commissioner is responsible for getting the recharter done with which unit, and then we'll continue to monitor and reinforce the idea. As I told the assembled commissioner staff last night, we need the commissioners working on the recharter side, which is member retention, and that allows the executives to function on increasing membership and finding chartered organizations and that sort of thing to help us out going forward. So it has to do with splitting the duties appropriately. We'll continue to work on that one. Pretty exciting stuff, I know. Okay. Did we already talk about retention, Scott? I think we did mention it.
We talked about, we feel that the need, or the biggest thing about retention is the need for programming to keep the kids involved, but I think that was about it. So
yeah. And the comments from the commissioner staff last night indicates that we've got more and more units that are coming back together, meeting virtually in some cases, but there's also a lot more in-person meetings going on. You know, the same kind of thing that Rush has been doing with Troop 100 for a long time is beginning to spread back across the councils. So we're awfully enthused about that. We had a good update last night also from the Roundtable Commissioner, and a short discussion about what's happening from a roundtable standpoint and timing and so on. The next roundtable is on the 3rd of November. We're looking forward to that as well. Those are the major topics that I think we wanted to talk to tonight. Kind of a wide open floor at this point. We're a little light from a membership standpoint tonight.
Jim, you want to?
Yes. Something you want to jump in with?
I was just gonna say, if you want to talk about updates to Camp Baker.
Sure, I can do that. We've had several meetings with people from Lane County, different boards or that, as far as planning department goes, the land use people go. There's a lot of hoops to jump through for us, but we're really moving forward on those well. It's always a challenge when you live in Roseburg to deal with Eugene planning commissions and that. Where down here it's just go ahead and build it. But we're making progress on it. We've got 99% of our stuff ready for the shower house to be built. It's just that the delay in the land use permit stuff has slowed us down, which is going to throw us behind with the volunteers that are going to work there. We're still going to have a new shower house. We're talking with Lane County about what to do with the existing buildings rather than change the health lodge to a different location. We may end up keeping it in the same location, just build a new building, or remodeling everything except one 2x4 in the right back corner. So there's lots going on. All of the other camps are available still for camping, and I think it's really important that units get out and safely camp. Plan, get your parents involved, and go on a family camp out. This is a beautiful time of year when there's a little frost in the morning, but 65, 70 in the day, there's no bugs to go bad with. One thing that is very important is starting midnight Friday, for anybody that might have the gate code up at Camp Malacqua. The camp lock will be removed by the Forest Service, and they put a double Forest Service lock on it because it is closed for drive-in people for an elk hunt in the area. So they want only foot traffic in that area. So if somebody's planning to sneak up there, or go spend some nice October time up in Malacqua, you cannot do that from Friday midnight until midnight the following Saturday. So that's very important to know. Fire restrictions have been lifted at all the camps. So it's a nice time to have a campfire again, cook some s'mores. I know, Rush has probably had a s'more or two in his days, and I think those are important things for us to do as troops and as scouts. So, yeah.
Solid stuff. Solid stuff. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. What else we got? Don't need to stay if we're done.
Randy,
Rush?
I just wanted to, I was going to send Scott an email, but I'll do it orally if it's all right. Just a shout out for Camp Baker and the Andersons down there. We were down there last weekend. I first went to Camp Baker in 1984, and I don't think it's ever looked so good. I'll also tell you that it appears that the animal, with few people in camp, the animals are coming in, which makes it more interesting. We got acquainted with a bear when we were there for a week late in August, briefly, but acquainted.
Cool.
And and so we've got some great mammal activity in there, and the camp just looks great, but the projects going on there are very encouraging. I mean, there's more activity in there than there has, it seems, in years. But the number one thing is the personal interest of the rangers. They contact the units before they arrive. They have arrangements. If they aren't going to be at the ranger cabin on arrival, they'll leave a walkie-talkie out on the porch for you to call if you need. It's right down to the place where, the shovel, the broom, and the Kaibo kit are on the quartermaster trading post building deck undercover for you to pick up. The camps all have firewood. It's right down to the place where if you're arriving after sunset, they've left the light on for you to pick up your stuff at the quartermaster's shed. They always think of a service activity the youth can do, but it's a measured activity that youth can do without really interfering with the other unit plans. It's not huge. It's small. It could be as easy as digging out the fire pit for the old ashes and wheelbarrowing, them up top. But they always have something. They never require you to do it, but it's there, and it's something the kids can do. We've got some people down there that are willing to provide the kind of check in and check out, welcoming and goodbyes that we just haven't seen in decades, and involve the units. And in my experience, the better you give something to somebody, the better you're going to get it back. And that seems to be working out well. I'll tell you, when I went down to camp last Friday night, by the time I got down there, it was dusk. The light inside we asked each family household that went to stay in a separate Adirondack or tent. I looked inside this Adirondack with a light, and I've just never seen the floor of an Adirondack that clean in Camp Baker. It was just completely swept out. I don't know if Wiley did that, but it was completely swept out. So what you're doing down there is really the way it should be. And I'll just leave it at that. I haven't used the other camp properties, but I think there's kind of a growing stewardship going on down there at Baker, and it seems to have some synergy. So,
and Rush,
that's all I wanted to say.
Rush, I know that with Sandra going over there, make sure you have a lot of film in your phone camera, because not only are there bears, there's a mountain lion, there's some bobcats, there's a lot of deer. So, and they're all friendly. So don't worry about that,
Well, they're all more afraid of us than we are of them. And as long as we don't get between them and the young, or make them feel threatened that they're being boxed into a corner or something, they're going to take off. The first time I ever saw a bobcat in Camp Baker, I'd gone back to the campsite early at the end of a lunch. I sat down on the edge of a tent platform. A minute or two, I looked up, and there was this cat coming down the trail into Osceola at that time, and it was no ordinary house cat. But the cat and immediately the cat didn't even see me because I was there alone and still. But as soon as the cat saw me, it was like right out into the brush. And so they don't really want to. They want to be on their own. They don't really want us. But the bear, of course, I wasn't there to see it there in August, but I'm certain about what was seen. And of course, our scouts didn't head in the other direction. Of course, they began to stalk the bear, as a scout will, and were able to report exactly where it went into the woods on the far side of the McDonald's cabins. And if you think about it, that makes sense. It's it's an undeveloped area that's fairly dense, and consistent with prior sightings or evidence. So. We've got a natural world down there, and it's rejuvenated itself with fewer people in camp this year.
Well, that's awfully good to hear. That's for sure.
They really do a good job of making you feel welcome and taking care of you when you're down there. I don't know if you were on last week, Rush. I don't think you were, but I went down last Thursday with a great supporter of Oregon Trail Council, who happens to be in his 70s, former scout in our council,
right.
And his scoutmaster.
Right.
We went down there, and Stan and Ann took probably 4 hours out of their day, and they're always busy. They're workaholics.
Right.
Still took 4 hours out of their day to take care of us and give the grand tour of camp to those individuals. So,
well, I heard the whole thing. I'm actually one of those who listened to the Fireside Chat later after it was posted last week. So I appreciate what you're mentioning, and I think that's consistent. And when people do this, and Jim can probably attest to it, you end up getting more volunteers. You end up getting people more committed to the camp, whether they come down and work or remember you in their will. It just builds on itself, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and if I was Sandy, I wouldn't be concerned about the lions and tigers and bears. My biggest concern at night is tripping over one of those giant slugs. Oh.
Or finding a raccoon inside your pack.
I have a story about a scoutmaster that they heard a noise. They were down in Chiskin campsite, Troop 100's favorite site, and they heard a sound, and they shined the flashlight over into one of the Adirondacks, and the scout had fallen asleep eating cookies, and there was a raccoon sitting on his chest finishing the cookies. And they turned the light off because they knew they couldn't wake the kid up. They knew they couldn't scare the raccoon. So, so it's real important when we're over there that we remember that we don't want to feed these animals. Even the deer, people put cookies and things down for the deer, and that it's not good for them. So please don't feed the animals.
Very good. Hey, one piece of business we talked from a marketing standpoint, advertising and so forth, and what we can do. We talked about this several weeks ago. We talked about sandwich boards and scouting happens here and that sort of thing. Does anybody know, have we gone anywhere else with that? I mean, scouting for food comes to mind now.
well,
Does anybody recall if we've gotten any headway?
We, I don't know if you've talked to him yet or not, Rob. We do have somebody on our board that can help with those kinds of signs and help us with that. And I thought you had tried to at least schedule a meeting with him, Rob. I'm not sure if you did or not.
Yep. Peter and I are supposed to catch up soon.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know where all that was. It was a string of good ideas that came out of the conversation.
right. We have two of the sandwich boards that Pete has at his front window. I forget what they cost, whether they're $150 $20 or $140 a piece, but we have 2 of them that we had purchased for the parking concession that we were storing at the council garage that we checked out and brought over to our troop garage. Some handmade signs were made by an Eagle candidate and displayed on the adjacent streets at his recent Eagle project. And I was also going to talk to Pete and see if he could, if you look at those sandwich boards, you know, they're a hard composite type plastic, but around the edge, there's a frame and there's an indentation, and around the edge of the indentation, there's some tabs that kind of stick out, fairly heavy duty. And, you know, my thought was he could make something that would slip in and could slip out so they could be used for parking and then also for Eagle projects. Just a thought.
And Rush, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I would love, because we're around on the backside for scouting for food, when we take in the food here at the office, the people out on MLK don't see us. And it'd be nice to,
Right.
you know, put something up there that says, you know, Scouts in Action or something like that.
Absolutely. You know, I think you talked about you'd like it for scouting for food. Pete usually has like a 7 to 10 day lead time on anything he does, you know, and, you know, I don't know what he'd have to charge. I would expect him to charge something, but I pretty much let it be known that in the future, if you want me to sign your Eagle project book, you better have the signage out there. You know, let the community know. And the first one got all worried, and boy, he made didn't take him very long. He had on poster board, he had the signs on those sandwich boards. So.
Very good, very good. You know, if there's something we can do locally to help further the whole, you know, marketing publicity sort of thing, now's the time. We got a bunch of folks that like to do that kind of stuff. Okay. Anything else to go to the order?
Just another thought, which I haven't been able to check into, is that Office Max, is it Office Depot or Office Max, the one across from Costco?
Yeah.
As you know, we have a scouting discount card that gives a great discount, and I think Dave Ragsdale introduced Tony to it, that he'd originally applied for it, but I think anybody who's a registered leader can use the code if they have it. Most people probably don't know about it. You know, they make banners, and, you know, for this big sandwich board, you know, there's the potential to make custom banners for scouting for food or other activities. I just haven't got to it, you know, but it's something we could talk about. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Very good. Scott, Rob, Sandy, Jim, unnamed person, anything else we want to talk about tonight? Okay, so we'll talk about program matters next week, and talk about summer camp stuff next week, and then we'll continue to move ahead. Okay. Thank you all for attending tonight, and let's get the word out and scout on. Thank you very much.